Welcome back everybody to the daily show where we discuss and do technical analysis on big mega cap stocks. So before we get started, please smash that like button, and 100 plus likes on this video would be greatly appreciated, guys. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. Now if you want to support the channel and get my daily trade ideas, my swing trade ideas, live trading, and all kinds of setups, definitely check out their link down below in the description for Patreon. And now let's get right into it, guys. So before we get started, we do have some earnings coming out this week, starting with Verizon on Monday morning. And then we got Tuesday morning Spotify, UPS, GM, Coca-Cola. And then right after closing, we do have big earnings from Tesla, Google, Visa, Capital One. And then on Wednesday, AT&T, Ford, AAA, IBM. So it's a jam-packed week, guys. Definitely you're going to see a lot more volatility here in this market this week. So if you want to take a screenshot, go ahead and do that. On Microsoft is down 0.74%. So we got some outage, some bad catalyst on Friday. And that is why this thing came down all the way down to the gap right here at 432 after filling the gap, also finding strong support. And this was also previous all-time highs right here. 433, 432, we found support and it was getting actually really oversold, trading under lower Bollinger Band. We got a bounce and now you can see it's trading right here, pretty much trying to hold 50-day moving average at 437 as a support into closing. Now, I did have some calls and luckily there was a bounce up to 441 and got out here on Microsoft, and I'm not holding any position right now. So going into next week, I'm looking to buy the dip as long as this thing comes down again, maybe open a swing position right here at 432 to 433 as long as the support holds right here. This thing can actually get a bounce. We might see a bounce back up to 443, up to even 446.66 to set up a lower high, and from there we might see more continuation to the downside. Now, going into next week, looks like it's holding 50-day moving average as a support 437. So that's gonna be your line in the sand for Monday. Below that, down here, 433 to 432, this trading range will act as a support right here. And underneath that level, you're going to see a big jump off all the way down to possibly 420. Now, if this thing gets a bounce from 433 to even 437, where it's actually trading right now, watch out for the resistance right here at 443, and over that, you're going to see a move up to this gap, 446.66 to close this gap. And once we get above this high right here, that's going to go back into bull market again, especially on this shorter time frame over 451. And here's my X account, and if you guys are on there, definitely give me a follow. And there is no subscription, nothing here on X, is totally free, and you can always ask me a question if you have right here on X. And here's some ballistic trade ideas from Friday, guys. First one was on Amazon, and you can see 9:30 a.m. right at opening, Amazon was trading at 180, got calls 185, and what happened? Same day expiration. By 9:35, it was up almost 200%. Massive gains right here on this one. Took profit and ran because same day expiration cannot hold, right? But who would not take 100 to 200% profit in just 5 minutes? Imagine you putting in like, I'm not even saying 10 grand. Let's say you put in $1,000 here. It's 2 grand, right? Within 5 minutes, who would not take this profit? Now, I know a lot of you guys are not into options, but look at this trade idea right here. And this is actually the second time on Starbucks. I actually got in here on July 1st, 300 shares, and this thing was dumping really hard. And what we got last 2 days, especially on Friday, exploded. Sold my shares for a nice profit. So all these trade ideas, and I'm talking about really serious people, guys. If you're only serious, then check out my Patreon. And if you're looking, just shopping around, then this is not it. This is probably not for you. You need to do some shopping around somewhere else. Only for serious people. If you're serious about trading and you want to make money and you want to get all these analysis, and especially each position that I get into live trading, and anything that you need to become a better trader, then this Patreon is for you. And if you want to support the channel, check out their link down below in the description for Patreon. On Tesla, stock is down 4%, and we do have earnings coming out from Tesla this week on Tuesday night just after closing. Now, if they beat on earnings, we could see explosion back up to the upside, possibly going up to 300. But if they don't beat on earnings, and especially the guidance is bad, we might see a dump off. It's a coin flip, so I'm not going to play a guessing game here on Tesla. But considering how last few earnings, they were not good, I'm expecting, at least I can say, I would say I would give benefit of the doubt 60% maybe with good earnings and 40% with bad earnings. So I'm leaning more to like good earnings, and we might see that with this one, especially how this thing is back on bull market and how this thing got that breakout. So I'm considering all that, especially looking at the technicals, we might see more upside here on Tesla. So that could be a big event Tuesday with earnings coming out from Tesla, guys. Now, you can see it's trying to hold 240 right here. If we can hold 240 on Monday here on Tesla, we might see a move back up to 250. These two moving averages right here will act as a resistance over 250. Watch out for a move up to 258, and possibly from there, this thing can get that breakout and possibly can come up and retest 265, 271, and then right here 287.52 to even 300. Now, what's going to happen? We crack under 240. So far it's trading slightly under 240. Definitely we do have this gap 231, and the 20-day moving average now sitting at 230. So that's going to be a strong support to watch on any pullback below 240. Underneath that level, you're going to see another dump off down to this gap. We also have support down here at 212 to 213 on Tesla. On Amazon, stock is down only 0.34%, and you guys saw that play. I mean, this thing pretty much going in the money, guys. Got in pretty much exactly at 180, and the calls went through the roof immediately. And then we got also rejection at 185, came back and trading around 183. So 183 will be a level to watch, level of interest going into Monday. And underneath that level, strong support at 180. Now 180 gives up, you will see more dumping down to 173. But as long as this thing is bouncing around 180 to 183, watch out for the breakout over 185. And if that happens, Amazon can move in the short term, possibly up to 187.67 up to 190, and then we can maybe even set a lower high somewhere here 190 up to this gap 192.24. And Amazon on this daily time frame definitely on a downtrend, gave up over $20 pretty much right here on Friday's session, and now trading at 183. So there might be some opportunities here on Amazon if this thing can hold 180. If not, this thing can come down even more. And Amazon, definitely, if it comes down more, that is when it's actually a better buying opportunity if you're going long here on Amazon. This was just a day trade that I showed you guys on my X account. And, I'm not going long here on Amazon, especially at 180. So if you're thinking about going long, I would wait. But if you're trying to like day trade, maybe that's the level that you should watch, 180 to 183 going into Monday session. On Google, stock is absolutely flat on the day. So Google went back up and finding resistance right here at 180 to 181, got a rejection, and now barely, not even holding 50-day moving average, which is sitting really near 180. So until Google breaks and holds 180, you're not going to see any upside. And if this thing breaks over 180, then watch out for continuation up to 183, 185.77, 20-day moving average, and over that, this thing going back up to all-time highs again. Now, underneath 180, you're going to see a lot more selling down to 176, and if that level gives up at some point, which is going to be a big level, you can see a lot of trading right here between 176 and 180. Underneath that level, you're going to see another big flush down to 170, and then maybe this gap comes into play, 158.28 on Google. On AMD, it's down 2.69%. So AMD, Nvidia, and all these semis are getting absolutely destroyed last week, and especially continuing on Friday. AMD getting no bounce at all, and now trading at 151.58, got down to 150. So AMD, there will be support right here, guys. I mean, we broke this level as well right here, 153, and now looks like it's heading down to 148 to 146, down to lower Bollinger Band, and that is going to be the level to watch going into next week. Now, AMD gets some sort of a move back up to the upside. Watch out for the resistance now at 153, 155, and then critical level to break and hold. If you're bullish on AMD, it needs to get over 164. Now, we do have earnings coming out end of this month. So maybe that can actually change the way AMD is trading, but that is always risky, 50-50 chance on AMD. But this thing definitely, I mean, this was the real breakout. And then the news came out, the catalyst, especially what Biden said and what's happening with all these semis. And that is why this dump off is actually taking place. Otherwise, it was on a breakout and possibly, this thing was going up, almost got up to this gap, and it was trading over 184 for like 2-3 days. And then the news came out and pretty much wiped off all the gains and back into a daily downtrend. So AMD definitely not looking good and definitely not looking bullish going into next week. On Apple, stock is absolutely flat on the day. So Apple is coming down and looks like early as next week at some point we might see Apple coming down and closing this gap at 221.55. And right here, guys, we can find a higher low here on Apple stock. It can bounce off of this level anywhere above 220. Apple is still bullish and we could see a move back up to the upside, and buybacks are not over. So if this thing gives up to 20, in that case, yes, we will see a lot more selling, and this is not going to be a higher low here on this daily time frame. So watch out. Apple comes down here. As long as the support can hold, we might see a bounce right here from this gap, 221.55 to 220, and we do have a 20-day moving average, which is sitting really here at 222. Over 220, we could see a bounce back up to right here, 228, 13-day moving average, and over that, this thing going back up to 230, and then this gap on top, 232. So Netflix also going down 1.51% and getting down to where? Exactly the level I gave you guys, 630, and getting a bounce off of that level and pretty much holding into closing right here over 630. So that's going to be line the sand, 630, and below that, watch down here, that's going to be around 625 to 623, and underneath that level, there's nothing. This thing can go all the way down to 604 and then much, much lower. Now, Netflix gets a bounce off of this level, 630. I mean, it's touching the lower band right here. We might get up to right here, 5-day moving average, 647, 652, also 50-day moving average. That's going to be resistant. And over that, 664, 668. And then we can talk about possibly going higher back up to 700. I mean, they actually had decent earnings, but how the market sold off did not really help here on Netflix. I actually got some calls early morning right at opening. It was only like 5 contracts, and that thing went to the moon because this thing, soon as I got in, got up to 675 and then even 679 almost. Sold for a nice profit, and then pretty much all the gains are wiped off. I actually opened a small, tiny position on Netflix pretty much at these lows. It's down underwater a little bit here. I think at 640, something like that. But Netflix here, as long as you can hold 630, this could be a buying opportunity. Otherwise, this thing can dump off. So this is where you can take a lot of chance. And talking about chance, you can see how many times this thing got rejection right here at 630, and now it's holding. So this might be the retest that you want to get in. But if this thing breaks under this level, then definitely exit your position if you're in here on Netflix, and this thing will jump even more. On Meta, it's absolutely flat on the day, only up 0.20%, but this thing was up enough all the way up to 487, and you can see all the gains wiped off, came back, not even holding this blue line. 5-day moving average, which is sitting at 480 and now trading at 476. We do have earnings coming out next week from Meta, so that's going to be a big catalyst to watch. Now, Meta, we do have strong support at 470. Underneath that level, we have lower Bollinger Band. That's going to be a support as well, 465 and then 452. But Meta can break and hold right here, guys. 480, watch out for a move up to 490. And over that, Meta will find resistance right here at 492. 50-day moving average, and then we can talk about possibly Meta coming back up to 500, up to even 505, and then this gap 508.37. Definitely on a strong downtrend, so watch out. I mean, you can see back to back 2 days. I mean, yes, we got a bounce off of these lows, but every time this thing is getting a bounce, it's selling off and pretty much closing near the lows of the day. So Meta definitely not looking good, and if this thing actually breaks under 470, there will be more selling. Possibly will come down and retest 452. On Nvidia, stock is down 2.61%, and I know a lot of you guys are looking at my video and asking yourself, like, is this it? Am I going to say like Nvidia is done? Well, absolutely not. But one thing I can give you guys, that whenever you see a big name like Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple hitting a big support level, soon or later it's going to break. So Nvidia is doing exactly that, coming down and hitting 118. And look at this. I mean, it was trying to go back inside this trend line. How many times this week? 3 times, and failed even on Friday, and now trading pretty much at 118. So if that level actually gives up, that's going to become a strong resistance here on Nvidia, and from there this thing can dump off easily down to 107. So watch out. As long as Nvidia stays over 118, then watch out for a move back up to this trend line. That's going to be around 122. We do have this gap here on top near 125, and over that we also have resistance at 126. Over 126, Nvidia definitely going back up again, and this thing will not come down any further under 118. And that's all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, guys. Thank you so much for watching.